My mom always says, like, you have not because you ask not. Even if the answer is no, that's okay, because also God, I asked him to shut every door that's not for me. Hey guys, it's Brooklyn Simone. Thank you for coming back to today's episode of Pushing the Pen. And we're going to do something a little different today. I have my best friend Treasure behind the camera, and we're bringing you guys in on our private conversation. So today we're going to be talking about putting pen to paper. I'm going to kick things off by reading a scripture, and it's in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2 through 3. The Lord answered, "Write down this vision clearly, inscribe it on tablets so one may easily read it. For the vision is yet for the appointed time. It testifies about the end and will not lie. Though it delays, wait for it, and since it will certainly come and not be late." All right, so let's go ahead and get into the conversation today.
All right, so Brooklyn. Listen, I'm super excited for this episode. It's very special to me because we're actually talking about your story.
Yeah.
We finally get to hear from the visionary and creator herself of Pushing the Pen. So you've been sharing so many stories, and I'm just excited for everyone to finally get a chance to get to know you. So before we get started, I just want to say thank you for your yes, and thank you for fulfilling God's vision He has for you. So, yeah.
Did you know I was going to cry?
Maybe.
You said something earlier. That's so sweet.
You just never know. You never know.
I love you.
I love you too, girl. All right. So how you feeling? How you feeling today?
It's so funny. Oh my gosh. Before, I already knew how I was feeling going into today. That just poured into me. So I said, like, just thank you. You guys, I'm laughing because she told me to fix my hair, and we just had a little joke about that. I feel two different ways. So I'm going to give it to y'all in some lyrics in true fashion. When I was riding over here, I was listening to I had my worship playlist going, but then I was reminded of Carrie Hilson's version of Turn My Swag On. And y'all, the part where she be like, they tell me in my hood, I can't sing. So let me I'm going to keep telling y'all that. She goes, they tell me in my hood, say what they say.
Say what they say?
Say what they say.
What they say? I don't know the song. I'm sorry. I don't know the song.
I literally cracked
it up. Tell me what they say and I'll say it.
Say what they say.
Oh, that's what I need to say? Y'all, this is how it goes. Like, this is the conversation.
I literally crack it up.
Okay,
we're going to start over. Okay. What did I say? They say in my hood?
Girl, you know, I just told y'all I know the hood.
They say in my hood.
Say what they say. Oh, what they say. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Wait, it actually... Okay, y'all, we're going to try this one more time.
All right.
They say in my hood.
What they say.
Every time they see B, I look good.
Period. What song was that?
Turn My Swag On, the Carrie Hilson version.
I know that's right.
Yes, you see how, and I changed it up. I said B. They say, you know.
I caught it.
Come on. Okay. The second way of how I feel is, in this very moment, I'm king. In this very moment, I slay Goliath with the sling. In this very moment, I put it on everything. That I will retire with the ring. In this very moment, I'm blessed. Yes. Clap. But wait, they gonna get me because I just butchered the lyrics.
Yeah, you did a little bit because I was ready for that one. I knew the next lyric was yes. I'm lucky, I'm blessed.
Yes. Okay.
For the
heavyweight champ, me. But I couldn't do it all alone. We. Okay. We. This is why. This is it. This is why it's important to have the people rooting for you. They're gonna get you. I'm gonna literally crack it up. So that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling good. I feel like I look good, y'all. My curls is good.
And do.
So I'm feeling good.
Yes. Okay. So let's just jump right into it. Let's get this journey started. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So first things first, how did we get here?
Ooh, that is a loaded question. That's a loaded question. Short answer, God.
Come on.
Long answer, I'm going to cut the long answer in half. You guys heard Treasure earlier say, she said, thank you for your yes. And the yes was never immediate. It was never, he gave me something and I just ran with it. And I just want to make that clear. And so how I got here in this moment, in this chair, a series of fortunate events, but unfortunate obstacles. And everything that I've done and gone through up until this point has built my character, has refined me, and has shaped me, and prepared me in some way, shape, or form. And I'll just share how I got here with Pushing the Pen. And that was really from service. And I actually jotted this down because it's an important note that I want people to have, and that is just about every opportunity came from me being content with and wanting to serve someone else. And so when we think about how did I get here, I got here just from serving and serving other people. And by serving other people, God poured into me, and I was able to like fortify my dreams and his will for my life. And so I remember I'm ever since like 2019, I was in like a self-help era. Like, if there's a book that's going to, help me be a better version of myself or a better person, like I was reading it, I was online looking at the articles, like that was me. I'm definitely a growth and development person. I don't want to be stagnant. I do not want to have a fixed mindset. And so in the last like 6 years, I poured a lot of my attention to being better professionally and personally. And I found through that work, I found this ability to kind of like take action, if you will. And so one particular thing that I did was I joined Masterclass. And I specifically, so let me backtrack. So in my readings, I read Elaine Wilteroth's book, More Than Enough. And phenomenal book. I felt so seen. It was a catalyst into me being where I am today, just because of how that shifted my perspective. Elaine had a master class, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to like check it out. I have to watch it. So I called Masterclass on a deal because that's the best way to do it. So I joined Masterclass. I watched hers, and hers was on finding your zone of genius. I spoke about this previously in another episode, and basically, to give you guys the cliff notes, your zone of genius is there's like 4 quadrants of your life, and in the center is where everything intersects, and that is your zone of genius. That is the greatness, that is your unique value proposition. Like that is what you give. Like that is, what you should be operating in whenever you're doing something. Like that's the space that you can be operating from. And once I did that masterclass, for me, it came about like, okay, now how do I walk this out? How do I do the thing? And it felt like a formula was unlocked, and I just felt like, okay, I have to share this. Like after that moment, it felt like the possibilities were limitless. And so it was just like, I want other people to feel this way. I have so many close friends and families members who are entrepreneurs, who have dreams and ideas, but maybe are really in that like baby stage, like it's still in the incubator, and they're just like cooking. And there have been things over the years that have prevented them from taking steps. And I just felt like by the insights that I had gotten up until that point, I was able to provide them with tangible, practical skills and steps that they could use to shift their mindset and walk out what they were trying to do, i.e. go from idea to execution. And so I remember going to a women's conference, being in the car. And at the time I was a passenger princess, so I'm just chilling, headphones in, probably scrolling on TikTok. And I remember I got a download and the entire concept of pushing the pin was there. And I don't think I had the name. I know you and I kind of went back and forth on the name a few times, but at the time, like the concept, what I wanted it to be, like what it was going to be, because let me not say what I wanted it to be, but what it was written out clear as day on paper. And I know it didn't come from me because y'all, I was chilling in the car, like not thinking about anything. I literally had to whip out my notebook and pen and paper because of how swiftly it came. And then I went about that women's conference that weekend, but I was like kind of blown away. I was like, okay, God, like, and even the weekend prior, I had went to another women's conference by Priscilla Shire, and she had did something in the room where she had like women stand up and she would call out like different demographics or experiences. And at the end, she was like, when you look around, this is the evidence of what God has done, of his faithfulness. If he has brought these women out of X, Y, and Z, then he can do it for you. And my mind was blown in that moment. And it was also that contributed to me wanting to share the information that I had gotten that had unlocked something inside me, because of the evidence that we are in other people's lives. And so we have, I want to say this, like, this duty to give back to others, and I think we do that in various capacities, but that is what set everything in motion for pushing the pin. And it really started off as an event. So I held an event, and my event, like, I just felt like the content was so chef's kiss, y'all. It was just so good. I gave book recommendations, the presentation was good. And I think just about, Treasure, you attended too, so you could tell me too, but like just about everybody who attended, I invited friends and family who I knew were entrepreneurs, who I knew had been stuck, who I knew, maybe had needed a push or could use what I was talking about. And I just invited them. So it was like under 10 people. We're all in a conference room, and that was what I did. And I also want to pause and say, me doing that event was also me starting another facet, like another avenue of my career pivot that I had been in the midst of. And I needed proof that I could do the things that I was pitching myself for. So if I was saying that I was a speaker, they need to see that I can speak. So me hosting that event was also me providing that proof and that evidence. Mind you, God knew like everything that I was trying to do and work on. And so him downloading Pushing the Pin in the way that he did gave me a reason to throw an event, to then host the event, to then speak at the event. So he definitely like served everything that I needed in that moment and in that time. And after I did the event, I was like, okay, cool. Like, that was that. And two of my best friends were like, oh my gosh, can't wait for you to do it again. And I said, again? Like, I just thought, okay, God, I was obedient. I listened, and give me my star, my sticker. But it was like, no, there's something else brewing and on the horizon there. And I didn't know automatically, you know this. And so then it was like, I don't even know what that first conversation was like I was like, it's a show. Yeah. This is what it is. But yeah, that's how we got here.
Yeah, that's so good. In your words,
Yeah,
that's so good. But I want to circle back. So you had mentioned that it wasn't always yes. That's
Yeah.
something you said. So can you talk about what caused those delays ultimately? What caused those delays in saying yes to moving forward with this, and how did you navigate that?
Yeah, what caused my delays? Disobedience, procrastination, which is disobedience, lack of self-confidence, uncertainty, self-doubt, and needing validation. I didn't always do things like, and it's so interesting because I'm the type of person to where I'm going to do something regardless, but it feels good when your tribe and the people closest to you get what you're doing and like are rooting for you. And so sometimes like I found myself like doing the things or starting the thing, but being disappointed that my friends weren't watching or they weren't supporting or I wasn't hearing anything about what I was doing from them, like whether it be like a congrats or like great job or anything. And so it wasn't like I needed people to say like, yes, you should do it, but it was more so of like feeling seen in the things that I was doing. I had to let that go and really get grounded in a why. And that's when I really started to uncover that in everything that I was doing, like service is one of my big whys. Serving other people has aided so much to not only my professional growth, but my personal growth as well. Not everything is about you, and buying into somebody else's vision has really grounded me. And I would say like that's one of the best ways that I can put it. But by being disobedient, like there was one, and I feel like I tell you this all the time, there was one like season of life, like I felt like I was in the pocket of God's obedience. Like I was like, I'm telling y'all, I'm seeing the fruit, like, and I was just like, I'm on the right track, like this is great, this is great. And I did something that basically I didn't listen, and I stepped outside of that, and I haven't been able to necessarily get that feeling back, but I'm also not chasing the feeling. And so, but it did let me know what it felt like to be obedient and what it felt like to walk in that space. And so now, alongside my why, I'm just like in a place where like, okay, when it comes to giving God my yes, it's a yes first and questions later sort of thing. Oh my gosh, I'm reading Deuteronomy and talk about Moses. He done forfeited getting into the promised land, girl. And because he may have given God his yes, but then he gave him some yes and some extra stuff that God did not ask for. And so, AKA y'all, he done struck the rock twice. And God said, just do it one time now. Why you being messy for, Moses? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so now you forfeited, and now we in Deuteronomy, and he keep blaming the Israelites. But I understand why he pissed, but that's beside the point. But disobedience. She's cracking up. We're cracking up.
I'm trying not to laugh like in the mic.
You can. Disobedience. As I'm reading this, disobedience is it comes in so many different forms. It's like God is just is asking something of us. He's not asking more or less, and it doesn't mean like we can't go to God and like ask him questions or clarify or be encouraged. But where I found myself in the obstacles is to overcome the lack of self-confidence, because these things, disobedience, self-confidence, validation, these are things that stop you from starting. These are things that stop you once you've started. And it's really, really important that you find something to kind of trigger you to keep going or to push past that. And so for me, where I found myself is grounding myself in the things that the Lord has already done. And so he has been so faithful to me. He has answered prayers for me. He's answered the prayers I have not spoken out loud. And so I now have like a gratitude jar. And so now I don't write in it every day, but I try to. But in my gratitude jar, I write down the good things that he's done, his faithfulness. And when I have a moment where I'm like struggling struggling with faith that it's going to come to pass or things are going to really happen, what I found myself doing is just going back to those gratitude jars, and it's a reminder, and that's really like what the word says too, and it says like, you know, guard yourself with these things so that you can remember the things I've done to you, like when, you know, you fall on these hard times. And so that's me paraphrasing. So so when it comes to like these obstacles that I face, I feel like those are like what I come up against or what I have come up against in the past. And I've said in another episode, like gratitude really can combat like a lot of things. And it's because it requires us to recall the goodness of God, recall like what we've overcome, recall what we've seen ourselves past and through, and know that, like, you know, joy comes in the morning. We'll be all right.
Yes.
It's rough today, but we will be all right.
Yes, that's strong. That's going to bless somebody, for sure. That's going to bless somebody. Okay, so let's fast forward.
Yes.
All right? We're walking in purpose. We're here. Pushing the Pen is here. What has been the biggest lessons you learned as a host and a creator?
Ooh. As a creator, this has just been so fun because I've always wanted to create stories, and this is just one facet of that, one avenue that I'm taking to tell stories and to share different narratives. And I think that's really what I've enjoyed from this part and the process. I'm setting the tone on the process of like the show. So like the operations is me, like the hats that I'm wearing, and it's been really, really fun because I'm adding this to my resume. Like, when it comes down to it, like, you know, I can do so many things. And I think what it really calls to is we're living in different times to where people would need to get a job to learn some of these things. Like, we can teach ourselves. Experience is a decent teacher. It ain't always kind, but it's a decent teacher. And so just giving myself the experience, and that's been, you know, what I'm all about. Once I realized what I wanted to do and the times that we're living in a time where we can take control of that. And so I am building my own opportunities. The things that I'm saying that I want to do on networks, I'm controlling that right now. I'm doing it on what is now a small and intimate scale that God is going to increase when he sees fit. But that's just really like what it comes down to on the creator side. As a host, I am talking more. Like there's like a fly. I create content and beauty content, and every now and then I'll like give an encouraging word on TikTok or Instagram. But I've always wanted to talk more on social media, but for some reason, y'all, I just cannot do it. I don't know why, but like that's still an area where I'm overcoming, but that's something that I want to do. And so it just has me kind of getting in that habit and practicing more and talking more and all of that stuff. And so I would say those two things. Yeah.
Okay. You spoke on content. So how do you stay inspired with creating new content and putting yourself out there? How do you get to that?
I stay inspired. I said I love to read. I recently I underestimated how much reading fiction can like ignite your imagination, and reading fiction. And I'm somebody, and I realized like not everybody brings the stories to life in their mind. So I'm fortunate in that way. And so, and I feel bad. Very And so, unfortunately, I'll be reading them Colleen Hoover books, and they're good, but I know they're they're something crazy. And so, being able to kind of bring the stories to life in my mind, I would listen to music and kind of see opportunities for content to be created, like just come to life in my mind. I would see ways to tell the stories, ways to do the music video, and just different things like that. And so, one, when it comes to staying and being inspired, always do the things that you love to do. I love to read. I love to be active a little bit, roller skating, swimming. So I'm going to go back to the basics there, listening to music that, tells a story or I find encouraging, resting. And there's like different ways to rest. Like physically, getting 8 hours of sleep is super, super helpful when you can, but then also just being still and doing nothing. So there's times when I don't read a book, I'm not on my phone, I'm not listening. And right now I'm in the middle of like practicing like the first 30 minutes when I wake up of like silence, getting ready in silence, doing nothing. And I'm enjoying that right now. So I would say, yeah, just doing what you love.
Yeah. I want to circle back really quick. I want to talk about how has Pushing the Pen evolved since its inception?
Yeah. So first things first, it's a show, and I did not see it become anything other than like the one-off event, but something I was reminded of because and how it's changed too is that sometimes in the middle of the creating process, like things can lose the plot. And I found myself, anytime I felt like pushing the pen in the process was losing the plot, like in my spirit, I was unsettled. And I would have to go back to prayer and I would have to say, like, God, like, I want to make sure you're at the center of this. Like, you're at the foundation of this. Like, what am I doing? Like, how can I, like, what's going on? And so that also kind of like prolonged some of the process of it coming to life, because I'm like, I'm not starting nothing that does not have him rooted in it. And I actually watched an episode of another podcast, Keep It Positive Sweetie, where she had Nona Jones on there, and Krista Renee had asked a question pertaining to like her acting career in certain scenes, and like, and just, I don't want to get into like what the question was, but Nona's response was basically like, if you have to ask the question, like there's the issue is there, right? And how to, and basically you'll have to pivot. Now it doesn't mean you have to drop everything, but you would have to pivot from what it is that you're currently doing. And so for me, I wanted this to be, I didn't want there to be any confusion in who I am and what I'm about and what I'm doing. And so once I like was able to clarify that, it was like, okay, cool. And so now we've been like up and running and, shooting the episodes, and also how it's like changed from inception is our videographer Jules, he's sitting behind the camera now. I actually pitched myself under Pushing the Pen to do like a local film festival, and we got the opportunity, and that was so great because I didn't envision that like immediately with Pushing the Pen. Again, it was like, this is what it was going to be, but the Lord led me to like, asking for this, and I was given the opportunity, and that interview is live with Lamont Rucker, and that was my first like interview, and that was so crazy. That was my first interview. So when we talk about like how it's changed, it's just like in unimaginable ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I really am.
Yeah, shout
Like,
out to the team.
shout out to the team. Okay, so perfect segue into my next question. You talked about taking an initiative and creating your own opportunities. So, what is your perfect formula for shooting your shot?
Y'all, one thing about me, I'm gonna shoot my shot, period. And actually, let me tell y'all a funny story because I was a very timid child, very to myself, very like self-conscious, like very, very introverted. And I'm gonna tell y'all a situation that is very like it's TMI, but I have to tell you because I need you to know where I was, so where I'm at right now. I will never forget. I came on my cycle, y'all. My mom took me to CVS, and she was like, okay, get what you need to get. So I was in the aisle, and I was in high school at the time. I was in the aisle, and CVS they had the like always and stuff right next to the what is it, toothpaste. Why would they do that? So just so happens this guy that I went to high school with was in the aisle. And I just did not want him to see me get paid. Like, I just felt like he was going to be in my business. I did not want that at all. So I'm like, Mom, can you grab the pads? Please, please. Like, I can't live like this. And she told me no. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Please. Like, what? She told me she was not going to get the pads, y'all. And she said, well, you either get these pads or we leave in the store. We left the store. No pads. No pads. Because I just like could not believe that, y'all. And I just couldn't believe she was going to have me out here like that. But just know, like, I used to be embarrassed. And it was keeping me stuck from getting what I needed. That's a crazy story to say. But, like, yeah. So that's where I started. And I would say, like, my formula. Let me not get it wrong. So my formula, first and foremost, seeking God in all things. We can do whatever we want to do. We can have whatever we want to have. It doesn't mean it's God's best for us, and it doesn't mean it's what we're supposed to have and when we're supposed to have it. So for me, it's important that I'm seeking God in every single thing that I'm doing. So that's first and foremost. So that could just look like, God, I'm really wanting this. This is why I'm wanting it. Because, lay your motives out there too, because if they're not right, he'll help you check them. But seeking God in all things, being courageous. I think I was reading the story of like Joshua, and he took over from Moses, and the Lord tells him, like, be courageous. I got your back. That's basically what he was saying. And so being courageous is definitely number two. Doing the work and being open to the outcome. That's actually a phrase that I say and I've been saying for years. Doing the work, because at the end of the day, you can only control yourself. But when you get tapped on the shoulder, if you don't have what you need to show for it, like, oh, can you do this? Okay, yeah, I can. Where's your portfolio? You only got not one portfolio. Life just doesn't work on people just going off words. You have to have more. And that just goes back to what I said earlier about, like, if I want to be a speaker, like, people have to see that I can talk. Like, they're not going to, just hire somebody that they've never heard speak or they've never, had a conversation with. And so really just keeping your head down sometimes and doing the work, and then being open to the outcome. So not putting your eggs in one basket. So not like saying like, I want to be on HBO, or like, I want to work for HBO and everything that I'm doing is going to lead me to HBO. And that is the straight shot. That is what it's going to be. Like, no. So what tends to happen is, life has twists, turns. It's a roller coaster ride. And so you might, go to a local network before, you get to CBS, before you then go here, before you get to HBO. So would you rather have the opportunity to grow and like be the best you could be when you get to HBO, or get there and kind of like underperform because you don't have all the skills or the attributes that you really need? And so the last thing, so it's going to be, seeking God in all things, plus being courageous, plus doing the work and being open to the outcome. And so I also want to say with being open to the outcome is like, allow life to throw what's unexpected in the best possible ways to you, and, be ready for that. And so then you have to subtract taking it personal. Taking it personal. Because I'm going to shoot my shot, but it does not mean that I always hear back. It does not mean that I'm automatically winning. It doesn't mean that I get my desired outcome, and that's okay. But I don't take anything personal, because there's more to one way of, getting something. And I'm really just big on building relationships and enjoying the experience. And I just think you have to be open-minded. You have to shift your perspective in what you're doing and why you're doing it. But for me, that's going to be the perfect formula to shooting your shot. Because like once you do all that, it's like then you kind of get into like the waiting game. You just chilling, and while you're waiting, you're doing the work. You're minding your business, doing you. And then when you get the knock on the door, the tap on your shoulder, it's like you're ready. Like it's your time, or that place is ready for you.
I love that. I had to write that down myself. Seeking God in all things, plus being courageous, plus doing the work
Yeah.
and being open to outcome, minus taking it personal,
Yeah.
equals shooting your shot.
Chef's
That's so
kiss.
good. Chef's kiss.
Cracking
All
up.
right. Let's talk about your experiences purging. Looking back, like how has that impacted you?
One thing God told me is that, let me say, like the Holy Spirit informed me, was that looking back gets you nowhere but stuck. Y'all gonna see a recurrent thing. And I would go take 4 or 5 steps forward, and on that 6th step, I look back, and then I'm 3 steps back from where I was. And I would get frustrated. I would feel down. I would feel defeated, because looking back sometimes also looks like taking an action, right? So that means going back to an environment, going back to a situation, revisiting people, places, and things that just are not conducive for where you are trying to go. And I distinctively remember a point in my life where I wanted more for myself. I knew that what I needed to do just looked different from what my friends at the time were doing and participating in. And while I was looking for their support and seeing that it was not going to come, I was also getting told and informed that I just needed to shift my access. The access that they had to me for that time and that season. But because they were so close to me, I couldn't even understand why I would do that. I couldn't understand why I needed to do that, because that was my sister, that was my best friend, that was like my girl. But if you don't do the thing that is being required of you, life won't do it for you. And I had to learn that the hard way. And I'd rather be told once and kind of be able to control like how it's done than be put in circumstances or a situation and now I have to deal with the chaos or like the debris, the fallout from that, and clean it up. And so looking back, it's just a really dangerous place, because there's a version of you there that you're no longer aligned with. And so it just doesn't make sense for us to, go there. Yeah. Period.
Okay. All right. So we are going to actually move into the segment of the viewer.
Okay.
So we do have
It's
a question.
giving passing the pen.
It's given passing the pen.
Period.
All right. So it's talking about betting on yourself. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, pushing the pen. I've been hesitant to fully commit to my own potential and bet on myself. What advice can you give me to help me build the courage and conviction to take the leap and invest in myself? That's a good question.
To get the courage and conviction to better myself. Okay. Get very clear on what and who you're rooted in. Treasure knows, like there's, I was laughing about this morning, you guys. There was this, maybe 2 years ago now, I call her, I'm crying. And I call her and I'm crying. And I am like, I just know. You know,
I remember that day.
I just know what I know. Like I know. And I told God, like, I'm going to glorify his name, like, throughout the process. When I get there, like, I just know, and I just want that opportunity. And I'm like crying, and I did like a audio diary to God, because I was like, this gonna serve me later on, and be a testament, be a part of my testimony. But so really getting rooted there, and because I feel like that's where my conviction comes from, because I have faith in Jesus, and I know what he's done for me, and I know what he says is true. I know that his promises do not delay. And one thing I will say too is in which all ties together, is the really good thing about being rooted is he has sent me signs, wonders, miracles, and everything in between and underneath. Now, I'm still going to ask for clarification, like, that's it? But and that's coming to the forms of, like, getting poured into unexpectedly, getting an opportunity that I'm not qualified for, getting a connection, being able to have conversations with certain people. And I'm going to share a story that recently happened. And I was working an event, and I asked God for something very specific. I even had my mom ask, because, you know, your mom or your grandmother, they got the extra sprinkle of faith on there. And I asked for something. I had my mom pray on it, and I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to work hard for it. I didn't have to manipulate anything for this to come to pass. And so I got the opportunity that I wanted. And when I had the opportunity, I didn't even want anything initially. Like, I didn't initially say, like, I just know, like, when this happens, then I could do X, Y, and Z. No. I then asked an individual, like, how I could pray for them. And in that interaction, she was so taken back, so grateful, gave me her prayer request. And I prayed, you got to make sure you do the part that you say you want to do. And I prayed for them. And later on, I then kind of offered my services whenever they're, you know, come back in town and are local. And we were able to exchange, like, contact information and things like that. And that scenario just was so, like, what's the word, team? What's the word? It was so, like, I don't know, validating. I don't want to use that word, but it was just like encouraging. Yeah, it was so encouraging, because that was something that I know, like, on my own, like, it couldn't have had the same outcome. You know, if you have to manipulate something, if you have to do too much, when you, at the end of the day, you feel like you sweat and you feel like, oh, I done did a lot for this, like, in the worst way, then you may have just done, like, you know, done it the wrong way. But there are just, like, things that are, like, divinely ordained for you that have your name on it, your stamp of approval, like, your stamp on it. And so being rooted, and like I said earlier, like, the Lord says, be courageous. And when you know what you want is the Lord's will for your life, which you can ask, like, that will be yours, you know. And he just sends so many opportunities throughout the years to keep you encouraged and to, like, I don't know why the word fortify, like it's coming up, but like to keep you on track and to keep you steadfast in that pursuit, because I think that's the key. Like, we can't look for quick gratification in things, and so we have to just stay the course. And so you have to know in your gut that what you're doing, regardless of when you'll get it, is the calling on your life, is, you know, what you're supposed to be doing. And you have the opportunity, I feel like we have the opportunity to do those things, not necessarily in the scale that we want to, but we have the opportunity to do those things daily. So just making sure that that's what you're doing in every opportunity that you get. But yeah, I would say, honestly, being rooted in something. And actually, I'm gonna throw a second one in, and you wanna know what I'm talking about. Keep people around you who see it for you when you don't see it for yourself. My girls, my friends, my mom, they see it for me when I'm discouraged, when I'm low, because it's like, oh, I have the times where I'm like, well, okay, what am I doing this for? And church will be like, you know what you're doing this for. Like, actually stop playing. And I'm like, you're right. Let me get for real. But yeah, so having people who see it for you when you cannot see it for yourself, because it's tiring and it's exhausting and it's lonely. And you do have people who say, are you still doing that thing? Or like, what is it that you're doing? I still have people saying, like, I actually don't know what you're trying to do. And I don't over explain myself, because if I already told you once and twice, and that's all you get from me. And I think just knowing who you are, doing you regardless of who else is around or, you know, who's looking at you, like, that is what's going to keep you encouraged. Like, you need to fortify your surroundings. You need to, you know, stand on that rock, that firm foundation, and don't waver from that. Like, I think, you know, that's really like what it comes down to. I hope that helps.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so strong. I love that.
Thank you.
All right, so we're about to close out, and I'm actually excited about this because you always do this, and I get to do it today. So, if you were to create a soundtrack for your journey thus far, what 3 songs would you select?
This has been so crazy. So I'm gonna do Marvin Sapp song "Close." Y'all, I wish I could sing, because in the song he's like, I must be close to, right there. Actually sounded good. Don't say yo, wait, did the Holy Spirit on the vocals?
Oh my God.
Wait, I'm so sorry.
You saw my face, I was like, ooh. Come on.
But y'all know. Okay. I'm gonna stop playing. Okay, y'all. I don't feel like I could do it again, but like, once we close to your overflow, to your victory, because here comes trials, here comes, you know, obstacles. So I know I'm close to what you have for me. So encouraging, so encouraging. So that's been what I've been playing on repeat. Actually, the last song before I played Turn My Swag On. I'm cracking up. And then At the Right Time by, I don't know who it's by, At the Right Time. Chandler Moore is on that song, but it's like One House, I think. But if you play He Remains the Same and then go into At the Right Time, oh, because the Lord is Lord, and he the same one from yesterday. So good. But hold on, I actually wrote down the songs I wanted to give y'all. House of Miracles, and this just goes back to this year, y'all. I just want to try to know, like, I told the Lord, like, coming in my birthday this year, I was turning 28. I said, I just know, like, this is a year of miracles for me. Like, there's been something I've been waiting on for 3 years, y'all. 3 years. And I just know, like, I'm not ending 2024 without that thing coming to pass. And I just know, like, God is going to supersede any expectation or thought. So, like, House of Miracles by Brandon Lake. So good. Hustle and Motivate, Nipsey Hussle, like, that's a song that, like, just gets me in my, like, grind mode. Like, I hate to say grind like that, but, like, just gets me, like, okay, like, yeah. Like, I love it, but y'all know his whole Victory Lap album. But yeah, so those would be the songs that I choose.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you ready for this question?
Yes.
How are you, Brooklyn Simone, the visionary, the creator, that girl?
Oh,
How are
period.
you pushing the pen in your career?
I thought about this for a second, and I'm just going to say by being courageous. I think where I am today, and I'm just barely scratching the surface, I'm just getting started, which is really the fun part. Being courageous. I'm not self-made, I'm God-made. I am self-taught, but God has helped me through everything. But even something as simple as y'all driving, I started driving at 26, 27. And I really had anxiety around driving. And I remember getting behind the wheel and I said, God, please just give me a spirit of boldness and authority every single time I get behind this wheel. And y'all, it's been up ever since. So have them tickets, but it's okay. Because it's true. But just being courageous, like my mom always says, like, you have not because you ask not. Like, even if the answer is no, that's okay, because also God, I asked him to shut every door that's not for me. So I'm not taking that personal. Even if it's a not right now, even if it's radio silence, again, like when you don't get the response automatically, that is okay. That is okay. Do the work. Keep your head down. Do what you need to do. But yeah, like me being able to just ask for things and people, and I want to just say this too before we wrap up. Going back to even the passing the pen question, since just doing everything that I've been doing, seeking God, being courageous, asking for things, being very strategic in where I'm placing myself and the events I go to and the community that I'm building and the community that I want to build with Pushing the Pen. One thing that he's blessed me with is people who in turn have wanted to buy into my vision. I've spent so many years and so much time serving others that God is now putting me in a position where people want to be a part of what I'm doing, who want to, serve for Pushing the Pen and just aid in their skill set and their talents and their insight and their knowledge. And I'm so blessed and appreciative of that. Like, there's an overflow that's even happening here. And I could not do that if I just was not courageous, if I didn't do the thing unqualified, do the thing with the background that doesn't align. I went to school for hospitality. I decided to pivot. And every single thing that I've done, I have literally, even coming down to marketing and creative strategy, I have done cold emails, I've reached out to people, I've done all the things to get to a point and get to the things I want and to level up and to, really, 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 really get the career and the life and the community and just the things that I want. And it just comes from being courageous. Don't tell yourself no before the no comes. Like, you are more than capable. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
All right. So, thank you.
I'm cracking up. Thank you.
Thank you for just sharing your story. Like, literally everything you said, all that you spoke about, just kind of hearing your background, right? Like, you're telling everybody else's story. So hearing your background is going to bless so many other people. You don't know how many people are going to, learn from you and really just grow from what you have shared. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. So you guys already know where you can find Pushing the Pen. And if you don't, you can follow us at pushing.thepen on Instagram. And you can follow me at brooklyn.simone on Instagram as well. And we cannot wait to see you next time.